The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café. This is the United Podcast Network.
And welcome to the Writer's Block Podcast. I'm Mandra Biscornet, and I believe everyone has a story to tell. What's yours?
Deborah Monk, empowering you to find your creative voice.
And Shelley Devlin, inspiring you to find your why.
We have one of our favorite guests returning today, the podfather himself, Mr. Dave Garofalo.
Good morning.
So happy to have you back, Dave.
Glad to be here.
Dave is the owner of Two Guys Smoke Shop and the Studio 21 Podcast Café, but today he's here as the author of David versus Goliath, a business marketing book for brick and mortar stores. And we are so excited to hear about the ups and downs of your publishing process, what it feels like to be on the other side of now having a book done, and marketing strategies. So where do we want to start? Let's start with publishing?
Sure.
All right, because last time you were here, we didn't have a title.
Nothing.
We didn't have a front cover. We didn't have a cover.
Yeah.
And now look what we have.
Finished.
Beautiful.
It does take us back to he is our number one success story, because if we just reiterate what he had told us before, he had a book that he had been working on for, 10 years that was in your drawer.
Yeah, just 50 pages here and there, and then I'd start again, and then I heard you guys saying, you just got to do this thing and just go through, and I said, I'm going to scrap that whole idea of that particular book, and I'm going to just start again from something fresh. And I had to actually think of something fresh. Let me come up with something different. And an hour or two of that, and then said, okay, that's the book I'm going to do, and go.
And so then you kept listening to our show, and because of our inspiration and our wisdom.
It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. And
shameless plug for the Writer's Block.
I love it.
And you can do it, but you just have to do it.
Right.
And just keep going and keep going. And at the end of it, I have this 50,000 word thing that is a mess, I'm sure. And it needs cleaning up, but there's people that do that.
Right. And it wasn't a mess. We saw some of it.
Not terrible, but...
And then you ended up going with Book Baby, I believe, which is a hybrid publisher. So how was your experience with them?
So I searched around and I said, okay, how do I want to do this? And you went and had somebody publish your book, which is a long process of a lot of people saying no to you, right?
The traditional route of being published.
So I am a entrepreneur and self-employed my whole life, and I don't like no.
And you don't like giving up control.
Correct.
Right. You like to have control.
And I just want to do it, and it's not about anything else besides I want to finish this task and do it, whether some publishing company says we don't like it or not. I'm doing this anyway. So what is the sense of waiting for them to tell me no, or hopefully with my fingers crossed getting a yes? And I don't think it was this way years and years ago, but now it's actually pretty easy.
Right. 100%.
Yeah. And, for a couple of $1,000, you're done, and you have the book in hand. And they do what you ask them to do, which is, okay, I need a cover. So do I go out and find somebody to draw the cover up and everything? No, they do that too. So,
So they came up with this cover here.
Yep. They say, give me some ideas, and you give them some ideas. And I think you're the one that came up with this and said the slingshot.
Yeah, I think she did.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, when we were sitting in the office that day.
And little scribble notes and things I had. So that little scribble note that you drew or something, I took a picture of it. I sent it. I said, I'm thinking something like this. And then he came back with something like that. And I'm like, yes. I was a pretty easy client, I think, for them. Also, you mentioned judge a book by its cover. The cover needs to be important.
Right.
Also, the title needs to be important.
Yep.
That was episode 54 we were on. And when that show was over, we went in the office and we looked at what we had and said,
that was a great brainstorming day.
Yeah. And it was maybe an hour.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we left with a title.
Right.
And
it took all four of us.
Yeah. Of, no, this and that's good. And then we started going in another direction. And all of a sudden, was it you? I don't know who it was.
It takes a village to raise
it
a
was me.
It was Deb.
Not that I want credit or anything.
So my name is Dave, and then you said David versus Goliath, and then the subtitle will be what, the idea of the thing, but I am David.
It catches you.
And the book is about a brick and mortar retailer, beating the online giant.
Right.
And it makes sense.
It makes perfect
sense. How did you decide on the colors?
They did it.
They did it?
Yep.
Did they give you option colors?
That was the first option they sent.
Okay, and you
I
liked it.
said,
Dave said
"Done."
good.
Right.
Perfect. Done.
Right.
It's good, right?
It's very good.
It is good.
Yeah, it's catchy.
So
then
listen,
they-
I'm not that guy that can design a room and say this is the perfect outfit or anything like that. Whoever that was on the other side, this is the first one they came up with. I said, it looks good to me. Hey, what do you think of this? It's a bunch of guys that are in here. We're in a cigar shop, and that looks good to me too. That's pretty awesome. Okay, and it's like, all right, that's it. And
You are an easy customer.
yeah, 30 seconds later, they have
Check.
because that's what they do.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's
They're
what
cover artists.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell a cover artist that's done hundreds of these before, you should
Make
turn
it
this
blue
the other
or
way.
white.
And why?
Right. Make it bigger. Make it smaller.
So, and then I can move on to the next thing, right?
Right.
Which was what? So they did the cover.
So I said to Deb, what is this thing called in the back of books that people say, oh, Dave is a great author, and I love. Yeah. So how does that happen? And if the book isn't out yet, how do you get a testimonial of a book that isn't even out yet? How does that end up happening? So they never even read it, and they make them believe, and they just write. No, you send them a manuscript. You send them a little bit of the book or something, and you ask them if they want to do that.
Yeah.
And I pick people that are brick and mortar marketers that are professionals, and would this help a brick and mortar? Because it's not what I do. I am a retailer myself, but I'm writing a book to help brick and mortar retailers. I sent it to them. Will you write a little blurb or something that's there, and I'll put you on the book? As opposed to asking them
to do you a favor.
Do me a favor. I know these people, and they've helped me, and I said, I'd like to do you a favor. And write me a little something, I'm going to put you in the back of the book. Now, what I'm hoping for is reciprocity. So now I've helped them, put them in the book, and maybe they're going to have clients, because that's what they do all day and every day, and they will say, you should buy this book. Or, I bought a bunch of these books. Here, why don't you have one of these books? So at my trade show that I go to, again, in the cigar business, I'm looking and following this book, because through BookBaby, you can see as people bought these books. Somebody bought 50 books one day.
Nice.
And I'm like, wow, somebody bought 50 books. And I go onto social media, which is where I've been promoting.
Advertising.
Yeah.
Promoting to my own group, the people that follow me. Oh, I wrote a book. Somebody just bought my first book. Different little things that goes on. And I go, somebody bought 50 books. I can't believe this happened.
Did you find out who it was?
Well, when I went to my trade show, if you signed up for a certain thing, you got a book, and there was the book.
No way.
And here's the guys that, because the people that follow me are people that are in my industry.
Right.
And that's what I'm going to get first, is friends and people in the
Yes.
industry and people that know me and all that stuff. So there it is. And then one of the manufacturers get it, and he said, oh my God, this is good. I want this for all my sales staff. So then he buys a bunch for all his sales staff. So I'm starting to sell in bulk.
Yeah, that's
This is
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
And the greatest one was just about 2 weeks ago, that there's somebody in the music business. I happen to know the guy, president of a big music company, and he was over in China, and he was doing a speech for the Chinese retailers that are selling music equipment. And on his flight over to China, long ride, he read the book. And he actually said, I brought the book on stage with me. And I was telling them a little something that was in the book about it. And here's the book, and wouldn't this end up helping you? Because it's the book, David versus Goliath, is little things that you can do within your store to make your store special and be a little experience to them.
Business.
Yeah, little promotions and ideas. And whichever one and I'm dying to talk to him about it, which is the one you brought up.
Yeah.
But he gets back to me as soon as he's off the stage and said, we would like to do this in Mandarin. Right,
Translate the book into
in Mandarin. Are you okay with that? And I said, yeah.
That's
Make it accessible to another billion people.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm okay with
Actually,
that.
there's 2 billion.
Oh, even better. Yeah.
Yeah, John.
The other half doesn't.
Wow.
They don't read.
There's 350 million in the U.S. and there's 2 billion in China. So
That's
there's a
amazing.
big market. Plus, with all the squiggly lines and stuff of how Chinese is written, I'd like a copy myself.
Of
Wouldn't be able
course.
to read it, but how cool would that be?
I'm going to get a copy when it's available
That's
that way.
awesome.
So what a ride. What an interesting thing it is.
And a short ride,
And a
Dave.
quick
You had a
ride.
short ride
The
there. I mean, it
quickest
was
I've
like
ever seen.
right to the top.
This is the beginning of the ride.
I love it.
This is just the beginning.
I love it.
And I'll tell you the respect that has happened to me. I've been in business. I'm 59 years old. I've been in business my whole life in different things. So I moved up a peg as author.
That is
Almost
cool.
like I know what I'm talking about now because it's in print.
Yeah.
You were telling us that story that someone introduced you as
Author.
blah, 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 and author. And it has a
And
different
almost
tone.
the most important thing, which was far from the most important thing of my life thus
Right.
far.
Because you've
And-
done this for like 8 months.
Right.
Exactly,
For
exactly.
years.
For 59 years you've been
Right.
doing.
But it is a very respected thing. So if you're a business owner and you want to move up, write a book because
Wow.
It's a
Because-
credential. It's an important.
like,
Well-
people look at it as wow,
And let's say write a good book.
well, hopefully because it would be embarrassing.
Exactly.
If you,
Yes.
I'm going to tell you what I loved about this book. I've been in business for over 25 years, and I want to tell you what I love and what I hated, right?
yeah, please.
What I loved was that it's a reference book. And I love that I can just flip and go, today I'm going to try this, the melting point, and I loved my two favorite ones were the phone smile.
yes, it's
Yes.
I
real.
That
preach
was mine
that
too.
nonstop in my business. And you think about it doesn't directly relate to selling this, but it does.
Oh,
It
smiles are-
does.
and that face to face, but even over the phone they can't see it.
Make
And
a
that's an
friend.
edge you have because if they're doing it, if they're going online, remember we're versus the online guy.
Right.
And you're doing it. You can't hear somebody smile, right?
That's right.
Well, you can hear somebody smile. Call somebody up and you tell me, or next time somebody calls you, and listen to their voice, and you tell me if they're frowning or they're smiling, and you can
Huge
you can hear
difference.
it.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
I loved the humor with Hat Day because we've done that before. Dress up in the salon. Deb, you'd love it, right?
I would.
Just wear a hat, wear your fun hat. I love that you turned it another notch and said if you had hats here, then you were now going to give them a new hat. They wore in their favorite hat. Now they've got a new hat.
Here we go.
Like it just went one
Advertising
step
your
further.
Yep.
I was like nonstop. So you know what I hate about it?
That you didn't write it.
I didn't write it before you.
There was one of the cigar salesmen that knew me for 25 years. He came in actually yesterday with a book in his hand for an autograph, which is another whole thing. Autograph my book. How embarrassing! And I don't know.
Embarrassing?
It's
Well, you're going to be
embarrassing to me.
embarrassed today because there's three more you need
there's
to sign.
all of our books.
And I want to be clever and write something
Yes.
good, and I still haven't come up with that thing. And should it be to an individual person? And then again, I had somebody edit this. I'm a terrible speller. And how do you spell your last name? Or it's somebody that knows me and then says, "Here, sign my book,"
And you
I
can't
can't
think of
remember
their
their
first
name. I run into all these things that happen,
Yes.
and why my signature on the book? What is that?
Oh, people like that a lot.
It's a notch for us. We know you.
Right.
Now we know
I
you.
met the author.
I met
because
the
most
author.
people
Yeah.
can never become an author. So by having someone, write it specifically to them, they feel like it's their book. It's the closest they're ever going to come to writing a book. My
Well-
advice is figure out what you're going to write on the book beforehand and have your little tagline.
Yes.
And then you don't have to even put their name. That part doesn't matter. It's your name. They want it signed.
So now the book is being sold. So it's being sold through Book Baby's website. It's
Yes.
also being sold through Amazon
Yeah.
and other online guys. I want brick and mortars to do it because it's a book about brick and mortar retailers
Right.
and beating the online giant, and the online giant carries it and the brick and mortar retailer doesn't. This
Right.
becomes
How
another problem,
ironic.
right?
Yes.
So what I'm saying to people as people are writing to me, well, what bookstore can I buy it at? I'm going for the brick and mortar thing. And I go, brick and mortar isn't even carrying it. But the online giant is. So Amazon is selling it, and they're selling bullets against themselves. And they're making money doing it, but they're selling the bullets to help a brick and mortar retailer.
Right.
And that's
they're
what's
selling
happening.
the bullets.
Yes.
The other thing you can do is put it on your own website. And the advantage from buying it from your own website is then get a signed copy.
Well, that's interesting. So I set up davidgarofalo.com, but that links directly to the Book Baby site, so I could have somebody say, where should I go? And instead of saying Book Baby and advertising them, I just say davidgarofalo.com. You go there, and there it is, and they click it, and it's
Then you don't have to
printed
ship it.
So I don't have books to
But you could get
autograph,
them.
which is what I have to do because I think I'm missing the element. I never would have believed people care
They
to have
do.
my signature on it.
Yes.
Yep.
And so many people hit me up on Facebook, how do I get an autographed copy? And I, But after the 100th time of haha, I
Right.
go, they really mean
really
this.
They do mean it. And not only that, from a profit point of view, you make more money on the books you sell
Yeah.
by
So
yourself.
how does that
So-
work with Book Baby? Can you buy
You could buy them.
in bulk, right?
Yeah,
And,
they
you'll have
get
a different price.
You get a better deal,
Yeah.
and then but then you have to carry product. And the idea of this,
Yeah.
you don't
No.
carry product,
Right.
and you just go to sleep, and you're making money and selling books
Yeah.
as it's going on. But this hook of
the signature.
Assigned.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, going into my marketing, and maybe you saw something like this inside the book, is I'm saying, okay, if I'm going to do that, then I actually want to market this in a way that I want you to buy it from me, because if I buy a couple hundred books, now I have to get rid of them because
Right.
They'll be in
I
your
own them,
garage.
Hold
yes.
that inventory.
Right. So what do I end up doing? So I'm going to come on the show, and I want to make a promotion to the listener, right, to buy the book. And I came up with an idea that based into the book of, this book is usually $24.99 plus shipping, and maybe run a promotion on my own website. Now, I can't do this, and I'm going to explain why it's not working, but where I was going to go with this is you want to establish with that person that now's the time to buy it. So you give them a short window to buy it. So in the next 30 days or by the end of October, go to davidgarofalo.com and you'll see David versus Goliath. If you buy it, maybe I would give a discount. Well, I don't want to discount the book because I don't want to
Cheapen it.
cheapen
Right,
the book,
I
right?
completely agree.
Not that I want more money, but
Right.
I don't want to cheapen the book and make
The
it
value.
because one person already lowered the book a few dollars and free shipping, and I'm like, wow, what's this all about? I put it on my social media page, and I go, should I be happy about this or sad about this?
Right.
Yeah.
That they're lowering the price of the book. To me, it seems like it's not selling very well, and you lower the price of the book, so I don't want to do that. But what I want to do is offer the listener a chance to win $100,000. So I'm going to buy 200 books, and in the 200 books, you get a chance of winning $100,000.
Okay, I'll take all 200.
I was like, what's the catch?
Yeah, there's some
Right.
trick here.
What's the
Yeah.
catch?
Oh,
So you're-
Jonathan's sitting over there. He knows.
Yeah, so
There's
you're
no
an,
trick.
you're an author, and you don't have that kind of money to spend to give somebody a chance to win $100,000,
Right.
and that's because you're not creative and you're not thinking about these chances. How can they do it? So I bought a book recently, and it came in and it had a bookmark in it, and I said, instead of a bookmark in it, how about if this was something that would actually help sell this?
Right.
So I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to buy 200 lottery tickets, scratch tickets, and that's the bookmark.
Smart.
And they have a chance of winning $100,000. That's the top prize on the scratch ticket, and that becomes the bookmark.
You have a chance of winning.
$100,000. Wow. And no, I'm not going to give up the $100,000. I'm going to give $1. I'm not going to lower the price of the book $1,
Right.
but I'm going to give the $1
Yes.
ticket. Now, is $24.99 or today on sale for $23.99
Gonna
going to
make it-
sell that book?
No.
None.
No.
But a chance to win $100,000
Definitely.
and because it's a book about marketing, teach you a lesson as you receive the book.
and
Not
it's
to be
so
mad
smart.
at it.
So
You're go-
smart.
You're going to look at it and say, that is cool. Now I can do that in my store and
Yes.
say, if you buy this shampoo,
I'm
you get a
stealing
chance
that
to.
idea.
There you
That's
go.
in the book, isn't it?
I'm stealing
It's in the
it.
book.
It is in the book. I remember it was.
So buy the shampoo, get a chance to win $100,000.
Right.
Here's the problem. So I look into this and I say, that's a winner. And I'm going to Las Vegas and I'm going to be doing a trade show, and they're actually paying me to speak at the trade show
Because
and
of
sell the book. And I was going to do that and say, okay, you got a chance of winning this. First off, Las Vegas is one of the few states that doesn't have a lottery.
Yep.
But number two is, it's illegal to mail a lottery ticket
Oh.
from state to state to another state.
Oh,
It's
so
against
you
the law.
can't do it?
You can't do it. So that's why I said,
right,
this is
I've
what
got
I
an-
wanted to do, but I can't do it. Now, face-to-face, I could do it. I could
Right.
do it within my
In
own
the
state,
store.
but I can't do it from state to state, which only gets me more creative at that point and say, okay, here's my hands tied behind it. I got to come up with something else to offer, whatever that is.
Have you come up with something?
No.
I've got an idea for you.
All right?
Isn't it 101 or
100.
110?
It's 100. It's
100 proven
100
promotions
proven
for brick and mortar
promotions.
retailers.
Buy the book from me, you'll get a signed copy, and you'll also get the 101.
Ah.
Yep.
So you then
Yep.
you
I
write
like
up,
it.
and then it's something. Oh, that's like extra
Only
special. It
those
makes
200
people
get.
feel
Yep.
like it's even better than the book. I have more than the book.
I don't know if we mentioned on the last episode when I wrote the book and I
You
sent
didn't
it
have
to the other.
100.
No, I had 96,
I know.
but I didn't know. I didn't number them.
She said you need 4 more.
Yeah.
4 more, and I go, oh God,
Damn it! Guess what? Now you need
Now
one
you
more.
need one. Yeah.
And it's funny how easy the 96 came, but 4 more, I had to actually make them up because I couldn't think of 4 more that I really did. Because
Right.
truly, the 96 in here,
You've done.
I did them.
Yeah.
And then I have to make up 4. And then to make the event legitimate, the book legitimate, because they're proven, I got to do the other 4.
Have you done it? Okay, good. Well, you're going to have to do 101.
I got to do
Yeah.
it now.
Yes, and then you give that away. That a lot, and readers would consider that hugely valuable.
Right.
Some
Because it's something
authors,
special that they're
right.
only getting.
Some authors have done an epilogue,
Right.
which is what takes place after the story that's not in the book. So if you buy the book here or whatever, I'll send you the epilogue.
So the whole thing here is the book happens to be on marketing, but if you do publish a book and you're self-publishing it, you got to market the hell out of it. It's up to you at that point to what you're going to do. Even if you have somebody else publish a book for you,
Right.
my feeling was they're not going to do a good a job as I was going to
No.
do for myself. Unless you're Stephen King or somebody big, they're not going to put the effort and energy into it. So you got to do it yourself, and you're going to get out of it what you're going to end up putting into it. You know, I have thoughts that I am going to get speaking engagements. I did, and we're talking
Right.
about thousands and thousands of dollars already. I got my first one coming up in January.
High five!
There we go.
That is so exciting.
And that was the business plan, right?
I-
We
Right.
talked
that was-
about that.
I know.
Here becomes the first thing of, no, it's not about how many books I'm going to sell.
No. This is not the finish.
tool.
This is
right.
This is the
tool.
beginning of
It's your
speaking
business
engagements.
card.
Right.
And I have certainly brought myself up from the success I already was into by other people looking at me. You know, he's smart. He's an author.
Right.
I was always smart, but I wrote it in a book, and now I know
now
it doesn't-
someone else
I don't
thinks it,
sound
right?
like it, but I am.
You're perceived as
Yes.
smart. Right.
And that's it. All the people hanging on and stuff. You're going to be looked upon differently after you put the book out because people think of you differently that you have achieved such a thing, including some of my friends that already said, I hate you. I've been thinking about this my whole life. I
Right.
have to do it now.
you beat 'em to the
Good,
punch.
because you were the ones that inspired me to end up doing it. I hope to the people that are my friends and saw this, inspire them to do it because just put your head down, start
Right.
typing exactly what you told me. Just do it all the way through. It's done. Then we go to step number 2. And I said I'm done, and you laugh at me when I was done. I wasn't done. I thought I was done that day.
That's why we laughed.
We knew what was ahead.
Yeah.
But still, you are like a shot of adrenaline.
Yeah.
Being around you, being near you, talking to you, I always leave so much more confident and inspired
Yeah.
than before we
Thank
talk.
you,
So
thank you.
for
Thank
being
you.
on the show.
Thank you, and thank you for being like our first success story.
There
It's
we go.
so
Our number one
exciting.
success story, for
so
sure.
exciting, Dave. Well, thank you all for listening, and be sure to check out, first of all, David versus Goliath, but also the Writer's Block NH Facebook page and the Writer's Block podcast on your favorite podcast catcher. If you'd like to hear this episode again or share it with a friend, you can head on over to the UnitedPodcastNetwork.tv. That's the UnitedPodcastNetwork.tv. Thank you for listening, and we hope to inspire and empower you to tell your own story.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.